Hello, everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. And as you wonderful, delightful people have figured out already from the title, we are continuing on with our Bard Guide. And yes, I did the same thing last week. Repetition just helps me remember and keeps me in my groove. And we are going on with the level 3 spells that the Bard gets access to. And much like I noted last time around, things just get better and better. The further we advance, the more options the Bard gets, and really, they get a lot of unique and interesting options, although there are some spells that are just universally useful to the witch, to the summoner, to the wizard, sorcerer, and to the bard. So we're going to cover those, but we'll try to keep in mind that they do get some other things that are useful. Like last time around, I noted Allegro. Allegro is really useful, so is Enthrall. There are numbers of other spells that are also effective, although maybe not in the purely mechanical and numbers sense, especially in combat, but outside of combat and with good RP, which is generally what I favor over pure mechanics. Uh, these things can be absolutely incredibly useful. So take this guide for what it is. It's something to help you get familiar with what is most mechanically effective. So that way you can balance things out a little bit while having some strong plays into the game's rules and workings kind of strengths, as well as having some stuff that's fun, thematically appropriate, and while maybe not mechanically the best, still something that you can RP and have something that fits your character, the character that you have in mind. So, with that fixed in our noggins, let's go ahead and just roll right on along here. And to kick things off, we have displacement. Now, this is touch range only. It's creature touched, including either yourself or an ally or the ally's animal companion, and it lasts one round per level. So, not an incredibly long duration, but enough to get you through most of the combat encounters that you'll have. The target will appear to be 2 feet away from what their actual location is, and it'll be kind of blurry and indistinct. This is where displacer beasts get their name. They constantly have this effect going, and this grants the target a 50% mischance on any attacks that are coming their way. A true seeing will negate this, but having a 50% mischance for most of the attacks coming your way, that's awesome. This means even if they hit your armor class, you roll that percentile die, and if you get the 1 through 50, well, the attack just misses, even if it normally would have hit. So, awesome to have. The only thing is, for area of effect kind of attacks, so say you're under a cloud of arrows, or a fireball, or a trebuchet has launched just a cascade of boulders at you, well, that's probably still going to hit you. But direct attacks, a single arrow shot, a firebolt from a wizard or sorcerer, or some big burly warrior getting in your face with their spear or their halberd or whatever, those will all have a 50% mischance. And another spell that we have on this list here that's useful for almost every class is Dispel Magic. It's medium range, so 100 feet plus 10 feet per level. You target one spellcaster, creature, or object. It's an instantaneous effect, and there's no save or spell resistance. You can use this to counter another spellcaster's spell, suppress the abilities of a magic item, or at least a singular ability if nothing else, or end an ongoing magical effect. You roll a 1d20 plus your caster level and compare it to the highest spell level effect, which is going to be 11 plus the spell's caster level. If you win, you get to either end the effect or go on to the next effect. So, say you're trying to end stone skin on somebody. If you don't roll high enough and they also have haste on themselves, well, then you go on to the haste effect and end that if you have rolled high enough. If not, then you go on to the next thing, like Mage Armor, another lower level spell. You go on down the list and you remove one of those effects. This doesn't suppress everything, it just does the one effect. Still, very useful if you can remove haste, if you can remove stone skin, effects like that. Absolutely great to have. And this is a good one to have. Some people say, have this as a backup so your wizard doesn't have to cast it. I'd say everybody have it. As many people have it as you can. Well, from a mechanical standpoint, it's good if you and the wizard have it, so that way you hit somebody with Dispel Magic and get rid of some of their defenses, which makes it easier for the wizard to come in and hit them with a different spell or a different effect, or make sure that they are going to have an appropriate effect on them over the whatever area effect spell they have, or make it easier for the witch to hit them with a different hex by removing some of the buffs that would have otherwise stopped them from being effective. So definitely depends on the situation, but it doesn't hurt for more than one person to have this in their repertoire in order to just tear away buffs and other magical defenses. And speaking of classics that just are great for multiple classes to have on hand, haste. Haste is an incredible buff. It's a close range spell, so you get that 25 feet plus 5 feet every 2 caster levels. You target one creature per level, and it lasts 1 round a level. This will increase the target's movement speeds by 30 feet. This includes their walk and run, climb, swim, or burrow speeds if they have any of those, or flying. And you will also add a +1 to their attack, their dodge bonus to AC, and reflex saves. And on full attack actions, they can make 1 extra attack. So increasing movement range, giving them a little bonus to hit, making them a little bit harder to hit and more survivable for area effect attacks, and getting an extra attack out there. This is absolutely the thing you want to hit your barbarian friend with. The paladin, the cleric, the fighter, the whoever, even the druid. The druid will absolutely tear things apart, especially if they're in an animal form like a tiger or a lion. Something with pouncing can get in extra attacks and bite attacks. They will absolutely start shredding through everything so much faster, and this is a much better bet for doling out more damage than, say, well, fireball. Of course, I've gone over that already in great detail, but absolutely a must-have buff. Great spell to have. But of course, it's not the only thing I have for you today. The next spell is another one that's not necessarily combat-oriented, but no less useful for what it does. That is the Tiny Hut spell. It's a 20-foot range, affects a 20-foot radius sphere that is centered on you, lasts 2 hours a level, and the sphere goes up and around over you and then down through the ground as well, kind of creating a sealed-in area, sort of. It creates an immovable, opaque sphere of force, colored however you wish it to be covered, that 9 medium-sized beings can stay comfortably inside of. The interior is protected against the outdoor elements. So if it's a terrible blizzard coming down, driving rain, thunderstorms, whatever, you will be protected from that. The only thing that will actually destroy it, weather-wise, is something hurricane force winds, which are 75 miles an hour or greater. If it's 74 miles an hour winds or lower, the sphere will stand up to all of that. Anything over, though, and it's going to get torn apart and go away. And any creatures inside do get concealment from attacks that are coming in. And that's one thing to note here, is that attackers can fire into the sphere, into the tiny hut, but everybody gets concealment. So there's some added defense here. And what this does, this gives you a comfortable place to rest, relax, and heal. You use Tiny Hut and make sure everybody's safe, and then you use some healing spells, you use any other effects to keep people's recovery speeds going faster and better, and be bright, ready, and fresh to go for adventuring the next day. This is a great way to create a safe, habitable environment despite the place that you may be in, whether it's the Nine Hells, the Abyss, even the plane of life or positive energy, or the plane of shadows or negative energy, any of those places that are normally incredibly hostile to mortal creatures. This will give you some safety and refuge. Not perfect, but definitely better. And of course, another classic spell that's great for a lot of spellcasters is Summon Monster 3. You get 2 and 1 in the previous spell levels, but I felt like this was a good spot to mention it here, because this is where you start to get some really useful creatures. It's another close range spell, 25 feet plus 5 feet for every 2 levels. You can summon one creature from the Monster 3 spell list that will last 1 round per level. You summon them in a spot that you designate, and for 3, we get constrictors, lantern archons, cheetahs, crocodiles, and blink dogs. Or you can summon 1d3 creatures from the Summon Monster 2 lists, or 1d4 plus 1 from the Summon Monster 1 lists. Now, most of the creatures from those previous lists, they are not going to be the most durable or survivable, but it does put bodies in the way and can help you set up flanking positions. So, say the rogue and the barbarian cannot get linked up. You use Summon Monster, especially Summon Monster 1, throw out at least 2 creatures here. You can create flanking for both of those characters. More important so for the rogue than the barbarian, because, well, with that flanking, the rogue can now get off a lot of sneak attacks. But, you get the idea. With a little bit of tactical positioning, you can get a lot of mileage out of the spell, even if you're summoning Summon Monster 1 creatures. And going on from there, the next spell that we have, it's an interesting one. It's called Good Hope. What this does for you is it's a medium range, 100 feet plus 10 per level. You affect 1 living creature per level, and it lasts 1 minute per level. Great buff to have. You inspire a font of hope in each target, granting a +2 morale bonus on saving throws, attack rolls, ability checks, skill checks, and damage rolls. So just having a flat +2 bonus to all of those things is awesome. The only way it could have been better is if you got this on initiative rolls. That would have been pretty cool, but I get why they didn't do that. The fact that you can get this even when you're able to cast level 3 spells, you can hit your entire party plus animal companions, and you're going to have some significant changes in the tide of combat there, because this is still early enough that a +2 bonus, especially to all of these things, is going to really help. And the fact that this is going to be lasting for longer than 5 minutes also helps a great deal as well. And the last spell on our list for today is Phantom Steed. Now, this is another one that you're not using in combat, because it takes 10 minutes to cast. And it only lasts, well, I say only, it lasts 1 hour per level. It's absolutely staggering length right there. You're going to be getting, 6-7 hours of travel out of this pretty easily when you pick this up. You conjure a ghostly horse for yourself or one target that you summon it for. It makes no noise, and animals will refuse to attack it. It gets an armor class of 18, 7 hit points per level, or 7 hit points plus 1 hit point per caster level, a speed of 20 feet every 2 caster levels, maxing out at 100 feet. At 10th level, or by 10th level, it maxes out at 100 feet. At 8th level, it can go over sandy, muddy, and swampy ground without slowing. By 10th level, it water walks at will. 12th level, it can airwalk at will, and by 14th level, it gains a bonus on fly checks equal to your caster level. That's awesome. Now, what would you need this for? Well, for one, if you're on your own, traveling. This is an incredible traveling spell, and by 14th level, you have a Phantom Steed that will last for 14 hours. 14 hours of travel for a creature that can go full speed without tiring is awesome. But what's also a good use for this is prior to combat, having a ghostly horse that doesn't make noise, and especially once you get to 10th or 12th level where it's water walking or air walking, you can set up some really interesting positions for tactical movements and positioning for the rest of the party, especially if you have somebody that's invested a little bit into mounted archery. This is a great way to make a mounted archer that much more effective. Attacking from a height advantage, able to move around and remove cover bonuses that opponents may be getting from different fortifications or spell effects. That's pretty damn cool. Not only that, but the scouting and reconnaissance that you can do with this spell is also incredible, especially if you're throwing invisibility on yourself, because the horse will fit technically inside that cone, and the fact that it doesn't make noise is just the cherry on top of the whole thing. So definitely a lot of creative and very useful effects for this spell to have. Just really depends on your imagination. And of course, the Bard has a lot of other interesting things at 3rd level, but covering them all would take so much time, and I'm already starting to run over a little bit as it is. So we're going to call it there. I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. If you enjoyed today's video, go on down there, hit the like button, and let me know in the comments below. What other spells would you add to the list? Or did you disagree with anything here? Or just not like the video? Hit the dislike button and still go into the comments and let me know. But if you have been enjoying content, then why not come over here to these videos cropping up now that the almighty algorithm thinks you may enjoy in the meantime. Or if you've been enjoying content, then hell, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and join us as a regular here at the Gamers Den. Certainly, we'll be happy to have you. And one final thing, though, before I really wrap this all up, I promised my wife that I would go and make a fool of myself, as if expressing an opinion on the internet hasn't already done that, and throwing myself out there to the potentially, I don't know, few dozen of you or so who regularly watch this channel. I am going to embarrass myself by attempting to sing. So, my friends, here it goes. I'm going to choose a classic that has recently been rebooted. Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes, it's a duck blur. Might solve a mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales, ooh. Every day they're out there making DuckTales, ooh. Tales of daring, do bad, and good luck tales, ooh. The danger lurks behind you. There's a stranger out to find you. What to do? Just grab onto some DuckTales, ooh. Oh my goodness. I can't believe I'm going to put this up. That was terrible. Anyways, my friends, I hope I haven't damaged you too thoroughly. I hope you're not unsubscribing. Who knows, maybe the sheer embarrassment factor and all the cringeworthiness means you all are subscribing en masse, or at least attracting more people watching. Either way, I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire, and terrible singer, and thankfully more of a storytelling bard rather than a musical or lyrical one. So, thank you all for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.